Thank you very much. And I will go straight into what the operation activity of ICUMS is all about. I believe my colleague have actually said a lot. So basically, ICUMS or Ghana Link, as we have it, Ghana Link as a company, ICUMS is the system that we have actually introduced. Right. And just to give you a brief about Ghana Link is a wholly Ghanaian-owned company that was established in 2001. And in fact, we've been in the destination business for quite a long time, right? Since 2003. And up to 2015, Ghana Link, as a destination inspection company, went off the screen a little bit. And then we came in again as an external verification company for customs as well. And right up to 2018, when this new contract was actually signed, we did the external verification for customs in terms of their price verification. So 2018, the new contract for ICUMS actually started, and then by the grace of God, we are here now. The main purpose of the government actually getting a new system was such that the legacy system, as we call it, we had about 4 or 5 different systems operating at the same time. So as it were, before you conclude a process from the port, you might have actually used about 5 systems before you actually get your cargo from the port. And ICUMS is just a single system. You log in here, you come out, and then you are going home. So you don't need to be going in and out of the system. Right, so that is very important for us to actually take note. So that is the main reason why, and also to mobilize revenue for the government, to kind of, seal some loopholes that the government have actually identified, and they wanted us to actually seal those loopholes. So some of the basic objectives of getting a new system is, like I said, to get a single service provider, and also to address revenue mobilization challenges, and also to implement an effective and efficient trade facilitation system for customs and the trading public as a whole. To enhance the platform on which the single window concepts, because we've been talking about single window, and what is a single window? Single window is actually a single system where all stakeholders in the trading community can actually come on a single platform to conduct business and not to be logging in and out of several systems. Right, so the legacy system as we had it, like I said, we had about 5 different systems. So if I import from abroad, by the time I clear my goods from the port, I would have gone through 5 systems. Right, so the first one is where you would actually go and get your IDF. It's the first document that you need for your process. So you go to the EFDA portal to get your IDF. You go to the pass. That is where your classification evaluation is done. You go to the gates. That is where you get your BOE. The BOE is the final document that you need to be able to clear your goods from the ports. And then the GCMS, which is for customs only. And then the GMIS, that is where the joint inspection at the port happens. So you'll go through all these systems before you actually get out of the port. So you can imagine the hustle and bustle. You need 5 different login IDs at every point in time. And it wasn't a good thing. So just a brief diagram of how the legacy system was and what ICUMS actually has. Right? So the same thing we just put in a diagram form. So the single window, the EMDA, the pass, the gates and the GCMS, then the joint inspection. But now the beauty of ICUMS, okay? With just a single login. You start your process, you go through, and then you exit with the same password. You don't come out of the system, right? And the processes have actually been shortened. So if you look at the steps involved here, you count the steps involved here, it's actually shortened. So we're actually saving time and also saving cost at the same time, right? Just like my colleague said, our system, even though it's a single system, we have various modules within the system. So you need your UCR and your IDF. You would go to the single window portal. You need your classification violation report. You go to the clearance portal. And then risk management is where you do your joint inspection, and then you're out. But all on the same system with one password. You don't come out, right? And also we have what we call the cargo management module. That is where the manifest from the vessel, the shipping lines, the airlines. We also have the road consignment as well. Coming from Nigeria or Cote d'Ivoire, you need to submit manifest into the system for us to know the kind of cargo you're bringing. So all that information is fed into the cargo management. The beauty of the cargo management in ICUMS, we call it the strength of ICUMS. What it means is that as soon as the shipping lines actually supply the information into the system, you can actually start tracking and tracing at every point where your container is. You don't necessarily need to even go to the field looking for your container physically. Once you track in ICUMS, and you see that in ICUMS, your container is indicating that it's at Golden Jubilee, or TBT, or Amaris, or wherever within the terminal area, by the time you go there, the box will be there. So you don't need to go physically looking for it. You just come into ICUMS, you track, and you'll be able to see where your container is exactly. Right. So we move on to a single window. This is where we get our applications. What if I say applications? What I mean is there are certain consignments that you're bringing in that you need permits from, let's say, FDA, EPA, GSA, all the various MDAs that you need one form of permit or license. So there are certain items that when you're coming, you need Interior Ministry's permits. So you apply that on our system. As it was, as in a legacy system, like I said, you need to log in every time. If you're applying to FDA, you log in, you apply to FDA. You come again, you apply to EPA. You come again, you apply to GSA. So you have to do multiple applications before you finish, because some consignments you need about 3 or 4 different permits, right? So you need to log in individually. But in our system, you fill one form, just one form, because it's the same information that all these MDAs will need. So you fill one form, and with that one form, you can actually distribute it to all the various MDAs. You don't need to go and look for this, look for that. You just fill the form, and then you distribute that form to the various MDAs that you're applying to, and then get approval for it, right? So, like my colleague said, the system is in 2 portals, right? We have the external portal, which is for the external users, and we have the internal users, which is for GRA only. For the external portal, we have the airlines, the commercial banks, BOG, CHS are the custom house agents. We have the MDS, EPA, FDA, all those people. We have insurance companies. The insurance companies are on our platform for purposes of issuing bonds and securities for transactions that require bond and bank guarantees. So you don't need to necessarily go to the bank and get a physical document and come and present to ICUMS, or present to customs actually. You go there, they have the interface. So they're able to work in ICUMS, and then customs will receive the data in the system. So the work of hard copy paper will be out of the system. So we have shipping lines, terminal operators, we have free zone companies, you name it, we have a lot. BDCs, OMCs are all in our system, and they're all using the external portal. And then the internal portal is just for GRA customs, like we said. This is the interface for external users. So when you launch the website, external.tunipasghana.com, this is what you will see before you log in, right? Before you log in, you can even do a lot of activities without a login, okay? You can actually track your cargo with your BL, with your container number. You can actually track without even a login. You can actually do a lot of things without a login. We also display exchange rates on our platform. We have a lot of other important information that you can actually make use of. And this is the internal interface for GRA as well. So you see that we have the GRA logo and then neatly displayed as well. This is a brief summary of how the clearance process in ICUMS looks like. So like I said, the cargo information, arrival of cargo, either by air, by sea, or by road. It is actually inputted in ICUMS, and then we have something targeting. What I mean by targeting is that for sea, there are some containers that contain some dangerous items, explosives. They have a specific yard dedicated for that. So immediately in the vessel docks, those containers need to be moved to that yard. So as soon as the manifest is submitted, there are certain codes in that information that is submitted. So the system is able to itemize those BLs that contains dangerous items, and is able to target it to that particular ICD that is supposed to go. So as soon as the containers are discharged, trucks are ready to move them to that terminal. So the system is able to sift through and know that this BL contains dangerous items, and it is targeted to the particular ICD that is supposed to go. And then it moves to that place as well. So once the manifest information is ready, we come to the import declaration, which is the BOE, or the classification evaluation that we do. You submit it, it goes to customs for verification. So the agent would input the information in the system, submit, it goes to customs, they do their classification evaluation and approval. Then the tax bill will be generated. The beauty of ICUMS is that before ICUMS, you have to necessarily wait for the cargo to arrive before you can actually make payment of any form to customs. But in ICUMS, you can actually do your classification evaluation, pay way in advance before the cargo actually gets here. Okay? You can actually pay. And now we have all the commercial banks also connected. Before it was only two banks, Ghana Commercial Bank, the almighty Ghana Commercial Bank, and then EcoBank. But now all commercial banks. And the beauty is that you don't even need to walk into the banking hall. You can sit in the comfort of your office and pay your duty and your taxes. Right? So that is the beauty of ICUMS. And then you move on to joint inspection, then you release your cargo out of customs charge. Right. So some significance and the impact of ICUMS on what we call revenue mobilization. So for me, from our side, the numbers actually tell. Numbers don't lie. So we've seen significant increase in the level of revenue generation since June 2020 that we introduced the system. Now, all customs penalty and service charges. Before, sometimes there are rumors that you go and negotiate. If you're supposed to pay 1,000, the guy will let you pay 300 and then pocket something. But now, they have to generate a tax bill in ICUMS for all services. So services like if you have to renew your license, manufacturing license, whatever services that customs does for you aside the normal taxes that you pay. The tax bill is supposed to be generated in ICUMS, and the relevant information is fed. So if you're supposed to charge 500, it is 500 the system is expecting. You can't say you're going to charge 100 and then pocket 200, and then the guy will pocket 200. You have to issue that 500 in ICUMS. So all payments are now in ICUMS. Without that, you cannot even transact business with customs. So that is an improvement. Okay, so all penalties are generated in ICUMS. And then there's also what we call proper bond management. There are certain procedures in ICUMS that you don't necessarily need to pay taxes immediately. You need what we call bond guarantee. Like I said, the banks or the insurance companies will have to issue you bond and then bank guarantees. These are issued in ICUMS. Now, before it was paperwork. You go to the bank, even if the paperwork is not genuine, you will not even tell. But now, the banks and then the insurance companies actually comes into ICUMS to issue that bond in ICUMS. So it is linked to the transaction that you're doing. If that bond is not captured, there's no way you can actually go on with that transaction in ICUMS. Right. So, like I said, effective exemptions is one of our greatest, one of our biggest problems. There are a lot of exemptions in Ghana. But you see now, what we're doing is that, especially for the parliamentarians, okay, so of course, they are entitled to some exemption of vehicle importation. So when it happens, when the approval is given by Parliament, we actually lock their name and their TIN in our system to the amount, because mind you, you are given a certain amount, okay? So let's say you're supposed to be exempted of 50,000 Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, the value of your car or the duty of your car is 100,000. Before, you couldn't track this thing. If it was, you couldn't even know what it is. But now, if the value that Parliament has given you is 50,000, the duty of your car is 100,000. We lock that 50,000 in the system to your 10. So when you do the process in ICUMS, the system is expecting you to pay the extra 50,000 before you can proceed. This is done in ICUMS to actually manage the exemption processes so that people don't cheat the government of what they're supposed to pay to government. So, like I said, it's also there. So this actually helps in making sure that people who do not qualify cannot actually enjoy exemptions when it comes to taxes, because the approval is given and then it goes through finance, it is locked in the system. If you don't have that in the system, you cannot actually enjoy that exemption you're looking for. What's some basic challenges, like my colleague said, 1 or 2 challenges. We have termed it system challenges and human factor. One of the system challenges happens is, just like my colleague said, when it comes to the internet service providers, sometimes maybe, but we have several of them, so it's not likely all of them may go down at the same time, but you never know. And like I said, we also have some few custom sites that we need to hook onto the platform that we are still bringing on board. As and when they identify the sites that they want us to bring on board, we do so, and then we hook them onto ICUMS. And then we have what we call the human factor, inadequate knowledge. We've had several training. In fact, last week, the sector commander and ourselves, we had several engagements with freight forwarders, with shipping lines, with GUTA and other stakeholders. So we keep continuously giving knowledge to the general public as well. Now, we talked about revenue already. Right. So revenue leakages, right, like I said, now, because the information is available in ICUMS, so for instance, I declare to customs that I'm bringing 100 pieces of an item, okay, in the system. When I go to the field and I open the container and there is 150 of the item that I said I'm bringing, maybe I've declared 100. Automatically, the 50 extra, I have to pay for it. There is actually a function in the system where you don't necessarily need to come back and start the process. There on the field, on the examination platform, custom can come into the system, introduce the new extra items in the system, generate the tax bill for you, you pay on the extra. Because before, you have to come back, because of that process, you are tempted to actually tip and then take the goods away. But now, because that platform is there for you to immediately generate the bill and pay, they are making use of it. So we also have what we call feedback, okay? So we are expecting that you'll be compliant. For every infractions that you actually commit in ICUMS, the system registered it. We have what we call risk management feedback. So if you're supposed to, like the scenario that I just explained, it will go against the agents, the declarants, and then the importer. So next time, if you're supposed to enjoy, let's say, a green selectivity level, where your process will go smooth for you, the following consignment you may bring, custom may be interested in it, the system will prompt customs, there's a flag in the system that is going to flag you for red, and it's going to flag you for full inspection. So what it means is that instead of bringing half the container down, they'll bring everything down. It's going to waste your time. So it is actually good to be compliant in ICUMS, and then the process will be actually smooth for you for your next consignment that you bring. Now, payment platforms, like I said, we have several payment platforms in ICUMS now. Because of time, otherwise I could have just gone through a 10 CD payment for you to see how smooth it is. So that is the tax bill for CHA levies. So once you go through your process, you generate your tax bill in the comfort of your office. Ghana.gov, I believe you all know Ghana.gov. That is a single platform for government and for all payments. It's also connected to ICUMS, the beauty of it. So you sit in the comfort of your office, you log in, you key in your tax bill number, the system itself will populate the element of the taxes. You don't manually type in the amounts. All you need is your tax bill number. Once you key in your tax bill number, the system itself will bring all the information. Your name will be there, the elements of the taxes. You just proceed, you pay with Momo. I have a lot of people in Tema who have actually registered merchant numbers And once you have a merchant, there's no limit. You can actually pay 50,000, 80,000 duty on your home merchant number, and it works perfectly. Okay, you can also pay with your bank card. A lot of people also use EcoBank mobile app to make payments. So the payment is actually very convenient now on ICUMS. Now, we have a security feature called the QR code. So that this was introduced so that the agents will not take undue advantage of the importers. So I've gone through your process, cleared your goods, I paid 50,000 cedis as duties. I end up bringing you 80,000 or 100,000 bill, saying that I paid 80,000 taxes, you know what, I paid 50,000. With this QR code, if you scan it, it will give you the basic information from our website of the taxes that the guy has actually paid for you on your behalf. Because we know that this hard copy document, they can print it and go and alter it, introduce some foreign information on it. But once you scan, it will give you the actual information that you're supposed to actually have. Right. So we also enjoy what we call support from other security agencies. I know our port community, especially our agents, sometimes they are not too happy that they have national security and BNI and all that. But sometimes they also do some good job. They're able to intersect, and they also, once they intersect, they are fed into the system, and then from that day forward, we're able to target that particular importer, target him for every consignment that he brings, do full physical inspection to make sure that what he has declared is what actually has been done. Right. We also have what we call data warehouse. That's where all our reports happens. Every kind of report that you need in ICUMS, you can actually get it on the data warehouse. So now, all government agencies who need trade data for their work actually are on ICUMS, and they have this information for government statistics, actually. Right. We have our phase 2 modules. Okay? Phase 1 is done. So going into next year, I think our DMD mentioned about phase 2. So these are some of the items that we are planning to introduce in our phase 2 modules. We have what we call the authorized economic operator. They enjoy, so they are supposed to be compliant. So big companies like maybe Malcolm, like these big and genuine companies that we know, yes, Toyota Ghana and all. Once they are registered under AEO, when their cargo gets to the port, they will have a smooth process. Within a day, less than 12 hours, they could clear their goods without hustle. So that is one of the advantages. We have what we call APIS. It's at the airports for passenger information system. And then a lot of them, I believe once you get the slides, you can actually go through. All these are things that we are introducing in our next phase module.